Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm here with a special guest, Lloyd Ross, all the way from Australia. He's a former lawyer. Lloyd has 3 university degrees in biomedical science, business, and law. He's got the trifecta going on there. He built $1 million share portfolio from scratch and is the author of the book Money Grows on Trees. He was the INBA Natural Bodybuilding Comp winner in 2016 and just completed his first 100-kilometer ultra marathon. He and his wife, Alicia, are also the founders of The Side Hustle Secret, having built a large online network marketing business from scratch, which does $5 million in sales annually, and having helped over 65 people create 5- and 6-figure online side hustles following their system as well. They're now on a mission to help 1,000 people diversify their income and level up their money game in 2021. So Lloyd, thanks so much for joining me. I know it's early in the morning there for you, so it's even extra special that you're here with me right now.
G'day, Amanda. Great to be on. Thank you so
So
much.
excited to get to talk to you about all these different things going on. I mean, biomedical, business, and law. And here you are talking with an internet marketing guru about making money online. How does that happen?
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, my goodness, what a waste of my life at university.
No.
I don't have any regrets because it got me to where I am today. But yeah, you just don't know where you're going to end up in life, right? It's started off there. I was going to be a doctor, silly.
Same here.
Really?
Maybe you can relate to this.
Sure.
And I have this conversation quite a bit with people. Mel Robbins calls it the ladder life. I call it the linear life, where we go to school and we graduate high school, right? And we go to university and then we get the job and then we get the house and the marriage and the kids. And then we get to this point and it's all been following this path, right? This very linear path. And maybe that's how you were going about your university experience, right? It's just the thing to do, right?
Yep.
You get out of one grade and you move on to the next one.
Yep. It just seemed like this. Well, everyone at school was going to university and you had to choose your electives and you had to choose a career path at 17. I'm like, oh, okay. I think doctors do pretty good. And I love science. Let's do that. And then I'm like, oh, like, it's just not what you think it's going to be like. And university is just like, I don't know. You learn stuff, but it's for becoming an employee somewhere for some institution, basically.
That's absolutely true. I think for me, I went to university for many years. I had a lot of fun.
PhD, right?
I got a couple degrees and I changed my mind a lot of times. How crazy is it that we think a 17 or 18-year-old person is ready to decide what they want to do? Like, I'm still kind of changing stuff up and I'm 46 years old. Like,
yeah. I know. I still don't know what I'll be when I want to grow up,
No.
but I changed a lot too. I finished what I started, which was always important to me, finishing what you start. But then I'm like, I did 3 degrees. I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't really know until I was 30, so that's really when it started to click for me. So anyone who's listening who doesn't really know what they want to be when they grow up, it's okay. You don't have to figure it out, which is cool.
I totally agree with that. What did you have a job after your college experiences, or did you go straight from like getting the degrees to your own thing?
Well, I had a job, and that's what really created this desire to get out of it. And I'm really grateful for the job because it did create this fire in my belly that I do not want this life. What happened was I finished my law degree. I became a lawyer by profession, got out of there fast because it didn't agree with my personality, and got a job overseas in Dubai in the Middle East doing projects for a large developer. So I was doing real estate finance and development, and was there for a fair few years where I actually got together with my wife who was born there, and which is great, obviously. And I remember commuting. I was commuting to the site office, which is an hour and 10 minutes a day there and back. So it's like 2.5 hours in the car every day for years and years and years. And I was just like, oh my God, is this as good as it gets?
Yeah.
Is this it? And I read like a lot of books when I was younger about entrepreneurship. I read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and I was reading these books. I was always trying to find something else while I was working. So I was trying to find a side gig to make extra money, to get ahead, to invest more, to get out of my job. That was my strategy. I didn't want to go there forever, right? So I remember going to work, and I was always listened to, didn't have podcasts back then, but it was like Audible. So listen to these audio books, right? Like on the way to and from work, I was like, I need to get out. And eventually I just handed my resignation in and went into sales. I was like, I got to get out
Did
of
you
this.
have a plan when you resigned, or did you just say, man, I just can't do this anymore?
It was a bit of both. I got to the point where I'm like, oh, I just can't. I'm done. Look, whatever will be, will be. I cannot do this because it was so limiting. I remember I'd write reports at work, and they would be like, "Oh yeah, we don't need that anymore," and just throw it in the bin. I'm like,
Oh,
surely I wasn't put on the earth to write DCP reports that are put in the bin after hours and it's just like this. Are
yeah.
you serious? I hate bureaucracy. I can't stand inefficiencies, right? Because I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, anyway, so I'm like, this doesn't suit me. Wrote my resignation letter, and thankfully at that point, I had saved money, and that's where I feel like it gives you so much flexibility and firepower when you have cash in the bank because you can
Mm-hmm.
make decisions like that. All my friends there, they got stuck. They bought
Yeah.
cars and houses, had kids, and like, I can't leave work. I'm like, oh my God, you're bound here. And it was this epiphany for me I'm like, I'm so glad that I listened to my mum and I saved my pennies and let the pounds build up.
That's so
And
good.
yeah, so I got out and went into work with my dad. He happened to have a business, wasn't going too flash after the GFC, and he said, "Look, do you want to do this together?" I'm like, "I'd love to learn from you," because he's an ultra sales guy. And I'm like, "Let's go, let's do it." Flew back to Australia, got in there for 7 years, and just went into commission only selling houses.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a really brutal. It was like a baptism of fire.
Yeah.
Go into that from no experience, and I learned so much there for traditional business running and selling. It was amazing, but that was my plan, and realized I didn't want to do that either. Like, how do you live and grow a family when you're waiting 2 months for a commission check to roll in?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
What
Like,
do
I was
they
like,
say? You eat what you kill, right? And
that's right,
what if you're
totally.
just not a killer?
Well, it's like you're always looking for the next sale.
Yeah.
And I saw my dad, and he was like 60, he's still doing it. I'm like, I don't want to be that. And so,
Well, and do you think that you get to the point in that lifestyle, don't you think it's never going to be enough
yeah,
if you're always chasing that next deal?
yep. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, the pressure's never off, I guess. And it's like, how can I live like this forever?
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I need a side hustle. And that's where it just fell into it. There's weird stories you hear, that cliche stories of it fell into my lap. It found me. It kind of did like that. It's weird. My sister introduced me to network marketing, and she's a nurse, shift working nurse. And she said, "Hey, I'm going to do this thing." I'm like, "Oh, here we go." One of those things. And we just loved the product, got involved, helped some people, got paid more than what we thought. And I thought, I can do this part-time from my phone
Yeah.
while I'm in my job, and that suits me fine. And that's how it started. That's how our internet marketing journey began.
That's amazing. I love that. And it's not that you weren't really searching for it. You weren't forcing anything to happen. You were just open to the idea that there's got to be something different.
Yep,
And
definitely.
I think that's a big difference. That's kind of mine too. I didn't know really which direction I was going. I just knew it wasn't going to be the one I was going in.
Yeah,
And it was basically allowing the doors to open as they would instead of forcing them open or beating them down and making it happen. And I
yeah,
think that's how some of the best things have happened in my life is just being open to receive whatever comes up. And
totally.
it's a really hard thing to do, especially I think you and I are really similar personality types, probably very type A, very much, structured. And especially if we were on that linear path and we were doing the things that we thought we were supposed to do, then by golly, we're going to make this thing happen too.
Yep.
And it's really a challenge to reset yourself a little bit and sit back and be patient for
Yes.
allowing whatever is to it to be.
It's so hard. It's so hard because, well, I didn't force that hand of the network marketing. The last thing I thought, because I've been educated at one of the best universities in Australia, right? Arguably the best law school, and I could walk into an investment banking job in 2 seconds. So I have access to that. It's not
Yeah.
like I don't. It's just that that is not going to give me happiness.
Mm-mm.
So I didn't force that. It fell in my lap a little bit. I'm like, oh, but then I saw the opportunity and I dug into it rather
Yeah.
than looking for other opportunities. I'm like, this is it. And I think too many people bounce around when they found the thing. I'm like, that's the thing. Let's build it. Let's dig the garden, plant the tree, let it grow. And same thing happened with my book. Like, I really wanted to write one. Could have a long time ago. But I guess it was like, I'm open. What will happen? And how it happened was quite amazing, actually. But which we
So
might
tell
get
me
into.
about the book. It's what is it called? Money?
Money grows on trees.
Money grows on trees, which
Money
is
grows.
opposite of what we've been told as kids, right? Money
That's
doesn't
right.
grow on trees.
That's
Like, you
right.
don't need
Yeah.
that, whatever, which is old mindset programming, right?
Yep. Yep. And it still
So
happens.
it does definitely still happens.
Yep.
And as a person that was told that as a child and even as a young adult, and now I'm pretty coherent to it, and I know that I don't program that into my own children, but
Yep.
I see other people still with that same mentality,
Yep.
and just resetting the pattern to
Yep.
continue on generationally. And
Yeah.
so your book, it's dispelling that.
Yes. I wanted to flip their mind as soon as I read the title. Like, what do you mean it grows on trees? Are you crazy? I want to read this, So the thing is that I learned how to make money grow on trees. I did. And I'll explain that in 1 second. But what happened with the story is that we built this network marketing business. We really went to work at it 6.5 years in now. And we went well, and it allowed us to leave our jobs, my wife and I. And it was like there wasn't money because we get paid weekly with this business, and it's incredible because it's a subscription driven income.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave us freedom. So I'm like, that's really cool. It does exist, But what happened when you're in the space of network marketing or digital marketing or an entrepreneurship journey, you do meet a lot of people. And what I learned was that people didn't know about money like I did. They hadn't read the Robert Kiyosaki books. They hadn't read The Richest Man in Babylon, these elementary books. They just were like, what the heck is going on? And I was like, you can't even save $1,000. I recognized there was a problem, and people were coming to me for like advice. And I'm thinking, oh my God, okay, there's an opportunity here to really help people. So that's what happened. And I started posting stuff about that. And that was like the testing of, okay, this is what the world needs, especially in Australia right now for young people. I can do this. And didn't write it straight away. But what happened was a friend of mine who's a ex-professional boxer. He was number 12 in the world, Australian title holder. I met him through network marketing. He said, I want you to do my boxing program, which is 10 weeks of training and then a fight. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, sign me up. Because I just read David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. And it was like, I'll do anything. Let's go, And so did it and went into this fight, won the fight, got fighter of the series, incredible experience, breakthrough, hectically scary, all that stuff. Anyway, kept training with him because I love the uncomfortableness of that. And one day at training, I started to talk to the guys about money. And he said to me, my friend said to me, you need to write a book. And he said, you'll do it in 4 weeks.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And he held me accountable, right? So I often say to people, I had to get my head punched in to write a book. It's just, that's the way it worked out. It's weird. And then he's the same guy that said, let's do a 100-kilometer ultra marathon.
Okay. And you
That's
did
how that came about. Yeah. So last year did all these 3 things in 1 year. It was just like big year.
That's a huge year. You want to fight.
Yeah. Want to fight, wrote a book.
Like a boxing match or like
Boxing
cage
match.
fighting, like
Boxing.
no holds barred?
No. I don't think I'd do that. But
okay.
Yeah. It was
I
just
thought
boxing.
about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's not a lot of women, and I don't even know if they go up to my age group to do that.
It's brutal. You could find it in the States. It's brutal though.
I'm
right?
sure you could.
I wasn't good. I was. Yeah.
So you did the boxing and won. You wrote the book. Did you write that on your own? Did you have help? Did you solicit help from experts?
Wrote it myself. I thought about ghostwriting and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I just need to sit down and write this thing because I can write, and I just needed to do it. It's just like a school assignment that's hanging over your head. You're like, oh,
just
God,
gotta do it. Yeah, it's like the paper, and all of a sudden you've had 4 weeks to do it, and you get it done in 4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it's just like 4 weeks. I thought it's gonna take me, it's 4 weeks, and I just smashed it out. And it's not a long book because I didn't want people just to buy another book.
Yeah.
Read it. I just don't want that anymore. I hate that. I wanted them to read it and get all the nuggets and go and implement it. And I want them to save and make and invest money. I just want them to have the results.
So yeah, cover the three main pillars of your book, because you mentioned them earlier in our little pre-conference. But I think it's really powerful, the 3 ways that you've broken this down for people to understand money.
So the book is designed for anyone at any level of money, but more targeted towards people just beginning their money journey. The ones who have been told by their parents that money doesn't grow on trees, right? I want to change their mindset. So in the book, the first thing it starts off with to set the scene is it goes through the money archetypes, because if you aren't self-aware of which one you are and how you operate with money, where you're a spender, avoider, hoarder, money monk, you need to learn that, because that's your behavior around money.
Mm-hmm.
So it talks about that. Once you do that, there's 3 aspects of it, like you just said, that it covers. The first one is, well, it's save money, create money, and grow money.
I think that's fantastic.
In that sequence, because people have no savings. They have no discipline to get that first $1,000. If you can't do that, you are not going to be wealthy, period. Right?
And that is really true for regardless of how much money people are making. Isn't that right?
Totally. 100%.
It doesn't even matter how much you're bringing in.
Nope.
Everybody has the capacity to save.
Yep.
But not many people know how.
It's that, yeah. This discipline, like discipline is like this secret formula for success. And if you don't have it, even including with money, you won't find it, right? So it was like, okay, teach people how to just do the first $1,000. Because I know that if they have that, they've got opportunity, right? Of some sort. But the same habits for 1,000 are the same habits to get you to 100,000 and 1,000,000, right? So that's the first part. Look after the pennies and the pounds will follow. I talk about stories of my mom and how I learned how to do that and all that sort of. I give them tips and I, give them tasks in there. And I've had people save $8,000, by the way, when they read the book. It's amazing.
I think it's fantastic. And I think it's awesome to start with that first 1,000. Many of the teachings, especially over here in the States, it seems so much more daunting, where they start out saying, well, you need to have 6 months of living expenses saved up. Well, if you don't have anything saved up, even the thought of having 6 months worth is you're already defeated before you begin. And so I think that's a big reason why people don't even try. Like, what good is my $500 in savings going to do then if it's not close to the 5,000 or 15,000 that they say I need?
It's too far away, that goal.
Yeah.
It's like trying to say, go and run the 100 kilometers now.
Yeah.
No, you can't, right? You have to build up to the 100-kilometer ultramarathon. Same with saving. Identical, right? So first part of that. The second part, when they have that, what people are feeling now more so than ever, and you'll probably agree with me here, is a lot of people are still in traditional workforce, right? 9-to-5 jobs. And they know that the wage growth has been 0%. No one has had a pay rise for like a decade, right? Inflation's done. Like, they know now, oh my God, I can't get ahead because I don't even get bonus checks. So I'm saying to people now, like, what we did personally is we got a side hustle. There are opportunities to, and this is where the create money comes from. Be an alchemist. Learn ways to create more money yourself instead of waiting for your employer to give it to you or the government, right? So it's about creating money. So it's all about this, okay, here's how you set up a side hustle. Here's the other opportunities for a side hustle. Here's which ones I would do if I were you. Try and find a recurring income one and go to work at it.
Nice.
Where I create money, right? And then the third part is, when you've created that extra $500 a week or extra $1,000 a week or a month or whatever it might be, here's what I'd love to see you do with it so you can create actual freedom. And that talks about investing that extra bit into passive income assets like nice quality shares or property so that it produces cash flow at will passively to you.
I think that's fantastic.
That creates freedom. Passive income creates freedom, right? So that's a pathway for freedom that we followed ourselves personally. It's what we do personally. And I just want to impart that in a book because I feel like the world needs it.
Okay, one thing really I think that your book conveys that you may or may not have had the idea to convey was multiple streams of income, right? You're not telling people to quit their jobs and go figure out another way to make money. You're saying stick with what you've got. You're doing great, but here are some other ways to add to that. And I think people tend to believe that multiple revenue streams are really just for the very wealthy, right? And that's not the case. It can be for really anybody you could be working at McDonald's and have a side hustle, right? You could be doing anything.
Totally. I mean, with the world of micro investing now, with like apps like eToro and stuff, people can invest in shares that produce dividends. You can buy pretty cheap property in the States. I mean, like it's achievable. It's just that no one has this path. And I guess it's just giving them permission, not that they need it, but saying, hey, listen, it's accessible to anyone. here is a way where I personally created 3 income streams without being a millionaire. And here's
And
how
it's
you
a
do it.
mindset thing too, right? And just like the title of your book says, if you're not already ingrained with the fact that money can be made and created, then it's a shift that needs to take place to put
Yeah.
you in the position to be okay with
Yeah.
having the money and
Yeah.
creating the money and
Yeah.
being having the idea of the possibility of having wealth. Really,
Yes. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people, when they grow up in this environment at home where like wealth is bad, Scrooge is bad, and all these Disney
yeah,
characters and so forth that are bad because they seem to have a lot of money, we're programmed at a young age to think it's not good. But the reality is when you have a lot of money and you're a good person, like let's say Warren Buffett gave away $40 billion.
yeah.
40, like that's amazing. Like what if we could do that? Like, I don't know.
There's
I
a
think it's
lot of people, even in my world of this internet marketing space, their kind of slogans are make more, give more, or
yeah.
make more, do more. It's not
Yep.
about making more for the sake of making money. It's really about making more so you can serve more people at a
Yeah.
higher level. So
Yeah. There's nothing honorable or serviceable in a breadline.
yeah,
You can't help anyone if you're lining up at the government's dole office to take a check. You can't. Like
yeah.
you have to help yourself first, then you can help others.
But if
Yeah.
you're in that position, you're there for a lesson and a
Yeah.
reason, and you get to then get out of that and then help
Yeah.
others
Totally.
also. So
Yeah.
even just like your university experience, my university experience, your experience having the job, mine having the job,
Yeah.
maybe we've been down on our luck in other times before, but every single experience we've had up to this point has allowed us to be able to help others even more. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm just really saying that for people that might be listening that feel like they're in a hole, or they
Yeah.
feel like there's no hope, or like, oh yeah, well, you guys can do it because you already have that, or your parents were nicer, or whatever story they
Yeah.
have around why we can and they can't.
Yeah.
Everything that you're going through, everything you've gone through is just giving you more fuel to
Yeah.
help more people down the
Yeah.
road. So,
Totally. Yeah. I just on that point about our backgrounds and so forth. I was lucky, and I'll just say lucky. Yeah, my dad dropped out of school in grade 10, multi-millionaire at 28, had no father. Like, just you could have, you could have put every excuse in front of him. Easy, just
yeah.
didn't listen. Just went on, and so I guess I got to see that, and that's where I'm like, well, if he can do that, I mean, what can I do? So, yeah.
That's pretty
So,
fantastic. My parents were both educators. And so obviously I followed that path for a
yeah,
while. But then I realized it wasn't for me.
yeah,
And I also realized too that I was always looking for the next, like, not necessarily a side hustle. That wasn't even a term back then, but maybe I always was just kind of looking for that thing. Entrepreneur really wasn't a term used in my world until, not very long ago.
yeah,
So back when I was in high school, university, even in my first years working as a teacher, I was always doing something else on the side. And
yeah,
it was also to make money, but it was like something was missing,
yeah.
right? Some kind of, I just knew there was more. It wasn't even about the money.
Well, I got bored with leisure stuff. Like,
Yeah. It
there's only so much like,
was very monotonous.
yeah, I was like, okay, we go out for an eat and then we go traveling. And then like, I was like, really? Come on. Like, what is inside me that can come out and
Yeah.
provide value? Yeah. I guess if you love giving and teaching and helping other people, then there's always going to be that thing inside you that says, I can do more.
But see, that's what we get to do now, right? And you're doing it too.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to recognize my gift in that space of being able to teach and share and coach and bring it in with some of my other experiences, meld
Yeah.
them together, and then create something that I love that helps so many people. And you've
Yeah.
really done the same thing. You've taken all of your training, all of your background, all of the experiences you've had. Not only have
Yeah.
you written a book, but then you've created some online courses and trainings around even furthering people's growth. So tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about how you basically built those online courses. Where did that idea come from to say, oh, you know what, I've done the book, now I'm going to create these courses online and let people learn from their own
Yeah.
homes? How did
Yeah.
that happen?
That's a really cool story too. Because I had at that point, like I had read all of Russell Brunson's books, expert secrets books and .com secrets and so forth. And I was already in a space of marketing through our network marketing business. I was around that industry, but I was always looking to learn more all the time. So I was reading books. I did the OFA challenge, the One Funnel Away challenge with them. And I did other stuff. Like I was immersed in that because I wanted to learn. It just intrigued me. So anyway, again, I wasn't trying to force it. I was like, no, it's not coming together. Like, so what happened was the same friend who got me to do his boxing program. This is where reciprocity always works, I feel. He said to me, hey, listen, I'd love to get you down to the studio to do a testimonial. I was like, man, I would love to do that. I'm there. Like, let's go. And people were like, why would you give up your time to go and do it? I'm like, because I love him and I love what he did for me and I want to give it to him. I'm like, yeah, of course. Go down to the studio and we're recording. And I get up there because I'd done I did Toastmasters speaking for a long time. I've spoken on stages in front of thousands of people. I train a lot of people. I do a lot of, so I speak a lot. So I got on this little platform. His son's there. He's doing all his marketing and stuff. Great job. He was doing a great job. And I'm sitting there and he goes, okay, just give me a quick 2-minute testimonial, like on the spot. And I went, bang. He went, oh, okay. And then he said to me, his son, who does all his marketing stuff, said, Lloyd, if I could show you a way where I could build this thing for you and get, on ads and get this return from that, would that be of value? He gave me an offer on the spot.
Yeah.
And I just went, yes, let's meet next Tuesday. Because I was waiting for this connection. Because in Russell's OFA stuff, he talks about, he outsources a lot of his digital marketing stuff. I didn't have the time or the inclination or the skills to put a great funnel with the great ads. And it was perfect. I was like, this is what I need.
Yeah.
And so his name's Jay, and Jay brought it to life with me. Like we brought it to life together. So that's wonderful. That's how the courses came about. And he's really good. And we did it. We filmed one course in a whole day and then another course in a whole day, just smashed it out. And the short course talks about, it takes it from the book to, hey, look, you've learned stuff in the book. Now I want to help you literally implement it so you can plant your money tree and grow it. Yeah. And we're going to do it through some easy to use apps. So I take him through that journey. Nice. Yeah, it's an expansion of the book, the apps, how to use them, masterclass on it. And then it gets some actual results. Like I've had people say, Lloyd, my money tree is $1,000 now. I'm like, awesome, it's happening. So I love that. And then the bigger course is all about, it's called Investing Mastery. And it's the final step. It's like, you know how to use some apps for micro investing now. You got some results, you got belief, you have faith and trust in this. And
some cushion in savings. So
that's right. And some cushions in savings. So it's like, let's level up. Let's take your money story to the next level. And now I'm going to teach you all the things I've done to just begin buying your own blue chip shares that produce income at your own will. Like, so teaching them how to fish instead of giving them a fish.
Yeah. Do you foresee having live events? As soon as things open up, I could see this having a really cool live event, live event experience with it.
So here's what we did, Amanda. We my wife goes, when the book came out, she goes, you need to do a book launch. I'm like, that's such a wicked idea. It sounds so much fun. So I told my friend Gavin, the boxing guy, who'd actually just written his book, Rite of Passage. He'd just written his. I'm like, let's do a book launch together. Came together, did this epic book launch, like 120 odd people showed up on this rainy day. And it was just this event that we just rolled out. It was so fun. Yeah. And so the answer is yes. I would love to do an event to then bring them into the sort of inner circle course. But I'd love to do like a breakthrough 2-day event. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like breaking through their money barriers.
Yeah, we'll chat offline about some things, and I have some people I want to introduce you to.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. This has been such a great podcast.
So what's next? I know that we've chatted for a little bit. Your book sounds amazing, and there's going to be a link in the notes for everybody to be able to get a copy of that and to learn more about you and where to find you. But so if, say, 2020, if you had to break 2020 down into a word for yourself, I have one in mind, even though we just met, but I think I know what word it might be. What would your word be for yourself for 2020?
Epic.
Oh, that's great.
Why?
My word for you would have been discipline.
Yeah.
You were very disciplined to show up and learn the boxing. You were very disciplined to follow through with, doing what you said you would do, which is a huge deal for me. I'm a huge integrity person. My coach, Seth Humphrey, that's
Yeah.
his motto, is basically do what you say you'll do.
Yeah.
And that is all about discipline.
True.
And doing the discipline to do the 100 km
Yeah.
marathon, like that's a lot of discipline.
That's a tremendous amount of discipline. And I feel like that is the number one, like getting up in the morning to go boxing train and spar people and run stairs in the dark during winter took discipline, right? And I was listening to David Goggins on the radio on the way there because I needed him to be like, dude, you just come on, toughen
You can
up.
do it.
Yeah. And then with the book, to sit down and write one takes discipline.
Absolutely.
And then to do the 100-kilometer ultra was just like 4:30 a.m. starts on a Sunday. I couldn't even get, and then to finish it at 26 and a half hours on the day took steadiness and discipline. So you're right. It was just a disciplinary year.
So what then would you say would be a great term for 2021? I know I'm putting you on the spot. This wasn't planned.
No, it's totally. It seems to me that 2020 was such a big and amazing year for me. It was the best in my life, right? Which is weird because COVID, kind of wrecked the world. It was the best ever. And I'm thinking to myself, how do I top that, right? Because I'm a progressor. How do I beat?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I guess it's like surrender. Like there was so much discipline in 2020. I'm like, I'm just like surrendering to like, I'm not going to force it to be bigger. I'm open to it to be bigger and better. I don't know what's going to come. So I'm like surrendering to it. Like I'm ready, level me up. How it's going to come, I don't know. So
I think I love that. There's a book that I've been listening to this last week and a half that I've been kind of down with some time. And it's The Law of Attraction from Jerry and Esther Hicks. And one of their third law in that Law of Attraction book is basically the law of allowing. And so what you're saying about surrendering, I'm hearing allowing.
Yes.
And I think that's really, it resonates with me personally, just for what I've been reading and going through. And then for what you're saying, I think that sounds fantastic. And it's only going to go up from here. I mean, look at how much awesome you created in what some people would have just buried their heads in the sand and a lot of people did, in fact, just kind of put everything on hold and wait. You continue to move forward. And that in itself should be an inspiration, not only for what you created through that time, but the fact that you didn't stand still. You didn't stagnate. You didn't feel sorry for yourself or for the situation. You just kept going and doing something different and new. Boxing wasn't anything that was you weren't doing that to grow money, like to make money, to do anything. It was just something different and somebody invited you in to do it. So that's where allowing also happens to come in, when you're allowing things that present themselves to present themselves and you actually take advantage of it. Who knows what can happen? Who knew that boxing is going to open up all these doors?
It's so weird, isn't it? Like when I read David Goggins' book in December 2019, my wife read it too, and we went to F45. You have F45 gyms?
We have it here in the States. I have not yet experienced it, but I've heard it's pretty great.
So what happens is you do a set training for 45 minutes, right? Anyway, we're in there one morning and I'd read David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. And I'm like, okay, I'm playing too small. I can be tougher. I can be better. What can we do that's going to make us uncomfortable? Because that's where the growth comes from. So I was allowing another opportunity. So I'm in there one morning, I look up at the screen and I noticed they do 10 F45 sessions per day. So I said to my wife and a friend there, I'm like, let's do 10 in a row. Never been done before. Never in all of the world ever been done before. So I said to the owner of the gym, like, we're going to do 10 sessions. He's like, let me put something together. We'll do it with you. We'll get a group and we'll raise some money. I was like, done. So at the time, did you hear about the Australian fires? It was the whole country burning. Anyway, like, let's raise money for firefighters. So we did that. We did 7.5 hours of functional fitness in a day, raised 20,000 for the local firefighters. And that was the first moment of, okay, we did this, let's find something else. And when the boxing came, I'm like, I'm in. And when the 100 came, I'm in. And it unlocked relationships and introductions. And that's what gave us the ideas of moving up and leveling up our money game and our business game. And yeah, you're right. Look, what the heck? But, I often say to people like, how did you write a book? I'm like, had to go get my head punched in, had to go and, run 100. Weird, right? But that's what you have to do. So at the end of pain, or the other side of uncomfortableness or pain, there is magic. There is. It's not going to be how you think.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's getting uncomfortable. It's really just about getting uncomfortable. That the drawing, you've probably seen it, like a circle is your comfort zone. And then there's another little circle, and it's like where all the good stuff happens is outside of that.
That's right.
Anything you can do on a regular basis to get outside of that bubble, to get out of that zone. It doesn't have to be as crazy as boxing or 7.5 hours of functional 45 fitness. It could be anything that gets you out of your zone, gets you uncomfortable. Who knows what, and it's going to not only open up doors for you, it's going to give you this newfound confidence and newfound desire to do more.
Totally. It gives you absolute mental strength. Like, something happened recently, and my boxing coach, he's an amazing man, right? Like, he's influenced my life so much in 2020, and he's about 10 years older than me, so he's like a mentor as well. Anyway, we went for a 7-hour horse ride the other day, and I haven't been for a horse ride for like 20 years. He's like, I got a horse, you want to come? I'm like, okay, yes. Get on this horse. I'm like, let's go for a bit of a. He said, I'll just be a little one. And 7.5 hours. And I don't know if you've ever been on a horse.
Are you walking yet?
It was no joke. Truthfully, we're on these horses. We're going through the streets. We go to the beach, and we start cantering up this beach at night by the moonlight, and then go in through the backwoods and dark. And the neighbors thought we'd stolen horses, and we're going up to his house. It's midnight. And I'm on this horse going, before 2020 ended, I'm like, this is like, what the heck are you saying yes to? Anyway, so I go to bed. 2 days later, I wake up, I'm like, oh my God. From the head to the feet, I was sorer from that than the 100, the boxing, anything.
How funny is that?
I don't know where that came from, but like, that was bad too. So like,
So now what? Are you going to become a horse trainer? Are you going to a barrel racer?
I think I'm going to do some lessons and level that up a bit. It sounds cool. Seems cool to be able to do that. So
yeah, nice. Can you imagine that's the way people got around forever?
That'd be cool. Well, no, that'd be cool for 5 minutes, and then you butt.
Yeah, not 7 hours worth.
No. So anyway, I don't know, I'm all about just doing uncomfortable things. I think it creates mental force. So anyway, the story is that because of that 7-hour horse ride, I'm like, even though I was really sore when we were doing it, I'm like, this is easy compared to the 111-kilometer race. But now you've got that benchmark about something really hard. Nothing's as hard. And that's what levels you up. That's
fantastic. Now, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you, Lloyd? Do they find you on social media? Like, what's the best way?
Best way to actually get in contact is a text message, but I wouldn't suggest doing that. I think I think Instagram is really easy. So like my handle is Lloyd James Ross.
Okay. And again, I'll put all these links in the notes for everybody to be able to connect with you. And then again, you also have the copy of the book that I'm going to have the link for as well. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up here today?
I think the most important thing to add is no one like both of us, we didn't get to where we are because we just had it all put together and ready to go. And so my recommendation for anyone listening to this podcast or any of your audience that listen to any of your stuff, it's such valuable stuff, but you have to work it out through trial and error. So I would say, look, read books, implement things, and be cool with making mistakes. Whether it's boxing or something else, like just be good, be really okay with sucking. Okay, be good with that. Be good with not.
That's really hard to do.
Really hard
for a lot of people, including myself. Nobody goes into something and go, I'm going to do this and it's going to be horrible.
Yeah. Well, I do that. I go into things going, you're going to suck at this, but it's okay because you're new. Give myself permission to suck. That's what I would love people to do, because if you do that, if you can be bad enough for good enough to get better, you'll be good. You just, just go wreck stuff. Mario Andretti, he's this famous race car driver, Indy race car driver, right? The Andretti family, very famous. He has this one saying, which I love, and I always use it when I'm coaching. He used to say, if everything feels like it's in control, you're not going fast enough.
Nice.
How cool is
that? That's
that?
really good.
So that's what, it's my last words.
Perfect.
Proceed.
Go faster.
And thank you so much for having me on. It's been awesome.
Thank you so much for being here. It was wonderful. And I hope you'll be a guest again. I'd love
to be. Yeah, I've loved it. It's great. Thank you so much.
Great. All right. Everybody get Lloyd's book. Follow him on Instagram. Check out his courses. Save some money. Create some money. Grow some money. And have a great, prosperous 2021.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Amanda Dake Podcast. If you like the show and want to know more, check out amandadake.com/strategy and please leave a review on iTunes.